Hey, it's Mindy here, and today we're going to talk about why real estate deals don't come together. I'm Mindy Sylvester, and I've been selling real estate in the Naples area for over 25 years. So, if this is your first time to the channel, please hit the subscribe button so you'll be the first to know about the latest Naples real estate market information. So, let's talk today about why deals don't come together. So, whether or not you're a buyer or a seller, the home buying and selling process can be very emotional. So it's important to have your expectations set properly so that if you are interested in buying a home or selling a home, your expectations are set properly so that you don't just go through this emotional roller coaster. I mean, I talk to so many buyers who are so exhausted of putting in offers and not getting their offers accepted, and also sellers having their home on the market and not getting offers. So let's talk about why deals don't come together. So first, the largest factor that determines a home price is the seller motivation. Okay, if you have a highly motivated seller, you're probably going to get a better deal than if you have a seller that they want to sell, but they don't have to sell or need to sell. Maybe they don't really want to sell, but they want to see what price they can get. So the biggest determining factor is the seller motivation. Now, if you are a buyer, the seller doesn't have to let you know that. I mean, we have people ask us all the time, why is the seller selling? They don't have to say that. In fact, if you're representing the seller, you should not reveal that unless they tell you to. Obviously they don't want to say, oh, we're going through a divorce, or, oh, we have cancer, or our spouse died, or whatever. We're not allowed to say that unless the seller gives us permission. But sometimes they do. They want us to know, hey, listen, the seller's motivated. Here's the situation. This is an estate sale. We want this sold. So if you're able to find out the seller motivation, that is a very important thing to know. Now, when a listing agent goes to a property and they list the home, typically, I can only speak for myself, but most good agents will do this. There are some out there that I don't know how they list prices. I think they just pick a number. I don't know, but I'm going to say the majority of the time, when we go to a listing appointment to price a property, we look at all the comps. Okay, well, this home sold for this, but it had a newer roof. Yours needs all new carpet. This one had an updated kitchen. You have everything original. So if this home and this home sold for X price, then we can back out, we can subtract the amount for the new roof, for the flooring, and then this is your target list price. So basically, we consider all the variables of other homes comparable, and homes that are nicer and homes that aren't as nice. And then that's how we determine the list price. Now, I try to price my homes properly based on the current market. Not all agents do. Now, here's the mistake that buyers make. I see this happen so often. A buyer then comes in and says, okay, let's say the home is listed at $500,000. A buyer comes in and says, okay, well, we want to do new carpet and we need a new roof and we want to do new counters. So now we're going to offer $430,000. Now, I'm not saying if I represent the buyer, of course, when I represent the buyer, my job is to get you the best price. Now, I'm not saying that you may get that price. But what I'm saying is the mistake you're making is you're subtracting all the things you want to do to a home, which has no bearing what you want to do. Like another person may come in and say, that's perfectly fine. It's priced well the way it is. I'm going to make an offer 95% to list price, which is the Naples average list of sales price. So you're coming in as a buyer and you're subtracting all the things you want to do, but that has already been subtracted when they listed the property, more than likely. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you're setting yourself up potentially for just a kind of an emotional roller coaster if you have that expectation that you're going to get off the price everything you want to do to the property. Does that make sense? I hope so. It's just, like I said, you might be able to get it, but it's all about setting the proper expectations. And that's why deals don't go together, because people just don't have the appropriate expectations set. Again, you can always try as a buyer, especially in a market like this, you can always try to get that lower price. It doesn't hurt to try, but again, I'm just telling you the expectations and how the process works. So now I've been selling for 25 years, as I said in the beginning. I've been through all kinds of markets. I've been through 2008, 9, 10. We had over 11,000 homes for sale at one point. It was definitely a buyer's market. Then we went through a normal market. Then we went through that crazy time, around COVID, when it was an extreme seller's market, when homes would sell for, $100,000 above asking or more within 5 minutes with 5 offers. And then now we're down back to a buyer's market. So what I talk about today, I'm going to talk about mostly a normal market, because obviously strategies are different based on what type of market it is, right? If you're a buyer and you're coming in at a seller's market, you're going to have a different strategy than when you're buying in a buyer's market or in an even market, a normal market. So right now we're in a buyer's market. I am going to kind of lean a little bit towards that, but a lot of the things I say are just really kind of in a normal market. So let's talk about another reason why deals don't come together, and that is the offer that buyers make. And again, we're in a buyer's market right now, but I think mostly people want the best price. I think that is 9 out of 10 times the most important factor. So there's two things to an offer. There's price and there's terms. Okay. They're different. So if you really want the best price, then why don't you find out what the best terms are for the seller and try to give them the best terms so that you can get the best price. So for example, terms would be closing date, escrow amount, inspection period. I get offers, and again, this is a buyer's market, but I'm talking in a normal market. I've gotten offers, 90% to list price, $1,000 in escrow, 15-day inspection period, 20-day appraisal contingency period, like everything's a mess. Okay. So, and a 2-month closing. So find out first, okay, when do the sellers want to close? Could we accommodate that? Do they want a 60-day close? Do they want a long closing? Do they need to sell fast? Because to a seller, obviously price is important, but that might be very important too, because obviously they're moving. Where are they moving to? How much time do they need? Find out those important factors so that you can accommodate that. So they say, gosh, you know what? This isn't the price we wanted, but they're letting us stay here. Maybe even a potential lease back. So the terms for a seller have a lot of value, can have a lot of value. Are you willing to take their furniture so that they don't have to move it if that's something that they want? Find out what the seller wants. Put a good escrow amount. Shorten your inspection period to a little bit short of a time period so that all these terms, they know that they have a solid deal as soon as possible so that they can then finalize their move, their new home purchase as quickly as possible. Like I said, I don't know where I get, where some of these agents get their advice, but it's like, I get the low price, but when you have low price and terrible terms, make something strong for your buyer. And I get these buyers come to me after working with other agents and they're so disappointed. I'm like, you could have made all these other terms really strong for them and then focus on the price. So that is a huge mistake that buyers make, or maybe it's the buyer's agent giving the advice. I don't know, but that is something that you can definitely avoid so that you can help get the home that you want. It is so disappointing when you, as a buyer, you fall in love with the home and then you don't get it. And the worst part is when you get it, you're like, oh my gosh, you find out it sold for like $5,000 more, or maybe even the same price. I've gotten homes from my buyers at a lower price because our terms were better. And I've gotten offers from agents that haven't even called me. I've just gotten an email. They didn't even tell me they're sending an offer. They didn't ask me any questions. They just emailed me an offer. Sometimes I find it in my junk. I was like, man, you could have. Communication is really important. This is the largest purchase of your life. Like, you need to take it very seriously and just find out all the information to put yourselves in the best position possible. Okay. Another mistake. Let me talk about a mistake that sellers make. And I heard this twice this week. So I've had 2 sellers potentially want to list their properties. I didn't take either listing. The one seller wanted double the value. And he is situated in a very up and coming area that has a lot of development that is going to increase the value of the area after it's finished. He said to me, he told me the price he wants. And I said, well, that is double than what all these comps are telling us. He said, well, yes, but in 5 years, this neighborhood is going to be worth, X amount because of all this development. He's right. However, he's not selling in 5 years, he's selling now. Sellers, you don't get the future value of your home when you sell. You get the current value of your home. Okay, you can't have future value if you're selling now, because buyers don't want future value. Buyers are paying based on what the current market is. I see that so much. If you think your home is going to be worth so much more in 5 years, then sell it in 5 years. Again, I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm just being honest, because obviously other agents are not informing people, and that doesn't help you. That hurts you. I will always tell you the truth. And sometimes it's hard and you don't want to hear it, but it's going to help you. Now, on that same line, another mistake buyers make is they want future value, especially in this buyer's market right now. I'm getting offers, ridiculously low offers, and they're like, well, the market's going down, and in 2 years it could be worth this. Well, you can't get a home based on what it might be worth in 2 years. Now, again, there are exceptions. I'm not saying there are not exceptions. I'm saying in general. Okay, you're going to get a home based on what the market is now. And if your expectations are set that you are convinced that the market's going to keep dropping in 2 years, then you should wait for 2 years. Again, you can try, but again, I'm trying to set your expectations so that you're not constantly coming up short and getting disappointed if you really do find a home that you love. So those are the main reason why deals don't come together. Now, check out my video to find out why deals fall apart, because you are going to want to avoid that once you're under contract. Everyone wants the deal to go through, right? So check out my video as to why deals fall apart. So thank you so much for watching. If you're considering moving to Naples, of course, I would love to help you make a smooth move. And if you're thinking about selling, well, definitely give me a call. I've sold over 800 homes, and I hope to have the opportunity to work with you. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.